Good afternoon. Welcome to January's 25th Sports Pavilion meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have all but one of our committee members present. We will move to approve the minutes from November, right? We did not have a meeting in December. So if there are no additions or corrections, we will move for those minutes. Karen, to enter those, please. And with that, we will go with staff reports. Barry, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Okay, we'll do the manager report. We did November, December of '22. I brought the wrong sheet. Do you have my sheet, Karen? Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. Bowling revenue on '22, we did 127,683. Prior year, we did 108,550, so we had an improvement of $19,133. Open bowling revenue, we had 33,132. Last year, we had 29,205, so they gave us an increase of 3927. Miscellaneous revenue, we did 2795 versus 1807, up $988. And total bowling revenue this year was 163,610. Last year was 139,562, an increase of 24,048. Food and beverage, we did 31,195. Last year, 24,093, with an improvement of 7,102. Miscellaneous non-bowling revenue, we did 23,406 this year. Last year, we did 24,431, had a negative of $1,025. And grand total bowling revenue, we did 218,211 versus 188,086, an increase of $30,125. And the lineage, we did 51,011 games bowled this year versus 49,110 last year, which is an increase of 1,901 games. Shouldn't have been a dollar sign there. And for the Lizard Acres Lounge, we had a combination of this year 41,851. Last year was 39,924, an increase of $9,927. So that's it. Any questions?
Great, thank you, Barry. I do have one question. Under the miscellaneous non-bowling revenue, what can we attribute the difference of the negative 1,025 to?
It could be rental lockers, miscellaneous, Wii bowling, things like that. It could fluctuate. Sometimes we collect a lot of locker rental, locker rental earlier. So, we go into January and that's when we try to finalize everything. So that could be a fluctuation of people paid earlier or later. So it's really just a mix mash of miscellaneous stuff. So nothing, could be the rent, of a pro shop in the restaurant. They could have paid later or earlier, so sometimes that happens.
Okay, any other questions for Barry? Okay, I have one more question now that you mentioned Wii bowling. We had talked about Wii bowling at our last meeting, and that the discrepancy, if we can call it that, regarding the fees for Wii bowling and no fees for darts.
Mm-hmm.
And you were going to do some research into that because I think you had mentioned to us that it was just handed to you that way.
Yeah, we feel the darts don't take any labor to do, where Wii bowling does. And that's how we got into charging and no charge. Because we have to set up the screens, we have to maintain the leagues, just like a bowling league. So that's why we charge for Wii and not for darts.
Got it. Thank you. Sorry about that. My pen whacked the mic. Thank you, Barry. Any other questions? No? Okay, with that, Cliff is coming up to the mic. Here we go. That he's all ready. He's going to present our, for those of you who don't know, Cliff has been promoted to CFO, so he will now be presenting our financials.
Thank you, Lisa.
Mhm.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? All right, there we go. Okay, so taking a look at the financial results, displaying December year-to-date here, we have a $42,000 favorable over budget in our bowling revenue, and that's driving the total operating revenue of 13,000 increase over budget. So we used to present these in millions. Now we've had some feedback from our B&F committee that they'd like to see them in thousands. So that's why we're presenting them this way now. But you can see our food and beverage is down a little bit from last year of 18,000 year to date through December. Going down to the expenses, we are 30,000 unfavorable on expenses. Most of that is attributable to a bowling pin investment that we made of $12,000. That was not in the budget. It was actually in the budget the prior year, but the spend didn't happen until this year on the bowling pins. So looking at the overall income from operations to budget, we're down 17,000. We expect to make that up here in the first quarter of this year, which is our busiest time in the Sports Pavilion. Looking at current year to date through December compared to prior year, we are up in revenue, favorable of 28,000. And looking at expenses, some of the things we budgeted for is 43,000 unfavorable, 12,000 attributable to those bowling pins that we purchased this year, for an overall 15,000 unfavorable to prior year. Looking at our bowling revenue versus prior year, league revenue is up 26,000. The promotional is down 8,000, and then open bowling is up 10,000. The overall revenue growth is 8%. And we can see that although we were down in bowling lineage, the fee increase we implemented last year is resulting in a higher per line fee of 8% higher. And we've talked about the bowling pins already, but that was something that we had budgeted in last year, but weren't able to purchase until this year. Any questions? Okay.
Great. Thank you, Cliff.
You're welcome.
Okay, Barry, it looks like you might be up again for the bowling rate recommendation.
Historically, with rate increases in the bowling center, historically we do every other year. And it's been that way probably for 18, 20 years. So we raised all the rates last year. So my recommendation this year is to leave them the same for another year.
Yeah, so Barry and I talked about this, and as things look right now, we're not recommending an increase, but as we develop our fiscal year 24 budget, and as we move through the next couple of months and see how we sit, we'll make that final determination in terms of what we'll do. But right now, there's no recommendation on rates as of this time.
Okay, great. Thank you, Cliff and Barry. Next up, we have the Sports Pavilion Policy B03 review, and that'll be Cheryl Tyler.
Okay, Barry and I have been emailing back and forth, and there's really no change to this policy for this next year. And I told Barry, I have talked to people here in Sun City West, Sun City Grand. I have relatives who bowl from Sun City Festival. They love coming here. They enjoy it. They want to keep coming. The facility is perfect. It's good to get to. They feel safe when they're here. They love the staff, and it's just a fantastic facility. The equipment, considering how much it's being used daily by hundreds of people, is in great condition. It's always being upgraded and looked at. And I told Barry he's going to say something about the staff. The staff is wonderful. Everybody that comes in for the anything that happens there, they love it. I have seen the staff at the counter when they've been, when questions have been coming, you know, like gunshots back and forth, and somebody will be asking about darts, lizard acres, bowling, billiards. When is a person going to be here so I can re-drill my ball? Everything all at the same time. And the staff is incredibly kind to the children and the families that come in. I've seen it firsthand when our grandkids have come in. And I was telling Barry that one day I was standing in line and even my mouth flew open. This little girl who was about 4 years old, she was explaining that she needed a pink ball so that it would match her socks. And they both, this gentleman and this little girl, went trotting off to go find a ball. And the kids love the dinosaur.
Oh,
They love it. So whatever's is going on excellently at the bowling. So.
Thank you, Cheryl. So it is your recommendation that we make no changes to this policy?
Yeah, no change.
Perfect. So if everybody's in agreement, we will move this forward to the governing board with no changes. Okay, Karen? Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I hit the wrong button on my phone. Okay. And with that in mind, we'll go to 4.03 Lizard Acres update. This ought to be a fun one, Barry.
Yeah, you know, it continues to do well. We're growing, it seems, every month. There hasn't been any issues. The bands have been good. I can't say enough for the staff because on Friday nights we're slammed, and they handle it every week. We have, excuse me, almost no complaints at all. The only complaint we ever get is it's a little warm in there once everybody gets in there. And there's not much we can do about that. But, you know, it's looking up. Every week it's looking up. Our business is growing on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. You know, I think there's nowhere else to go but to continue to go up.
Great, thank you, Barry. I do have a couple of questions.
Hey, Lisa, excuse me.
Oh, sure.
I was going to give an update on the financial
Oh.
on Lizard Acres.
Okay,
So we did about 20,000 in revenue for the month of December, and it continues to operate at about a break even. So
great.
on 20,000 in revenue, and the events that he holds there brings, you know, some really nice crowds. I know that Carl has recently been to one, and
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's bringing a great crowd, and again, for what we're charging, the prices we're charging and everything, you know, going in on the revenue side, we're about breaking even, a little better than break even right at this point, but pretty much just break even for the year.
Great, yeah, I would agree. Everything is, alcohol especially, great priced, really great, and the events are really good that Barry has got going on in there. The entertainment is great, so I would concur. And Carl, you happen to get in there, the events are really starting to pack people in, so. The question that I have is last Thursday when I was out on the golf course, I got hit up about a change to the allowance of food being brought in. And I didn't know what to say because in the last year, people had been allowed to, we had discussed this in depth at this meeting, and Barry had allowed, food to be brought in across the board. And now I guess there's been changes to that, but I wasn't aware of any changes, and nobody had brought it to my attention, and so I didn't know what to say. So if you could maybe enlighten us and let us know what the changes
Yeah,
were.
excuse me, we originally did that because of the restaurant being closed certain nights of the week.
Mhm.
So we allowed people to bring food in because they had no outside source, So then we had a complaint filed against this, and we determined we're in violation of the state Food and Beverage Act.
Mhm.
So that's why we had to stop it. And that included, hot plates of food, bringing in deep dish things and stuff like that. So we've limited just, which we have a license to do, is snacks, like potato chips or pretzels or stuff like that. We allow them to bring that in right now, but actual food, they can't bring it in. They can have pizza delivered because they have a license to deliver, and that's legal. But outside of that, we can't do food any longer.
Okay. Oops. Give me 1 sec. So somebody had mentioned to me that they were told by one of the bartenders that if it was store-bought, that's acceptable. So are there things do we have this down somewhere in writing that what the rules are? Because I think the different bartenders are telling them different rules, and I know I didn't even know about it, so I can't even speak to what the rules are.
I met with all the bartenders, and I thought everybody was on the same page. You can buy like chips and stuff at the store, but you can't buy food and bring it in hot. That's just not allowed. So I can put it in writing and make a sign up. I can do that.
Jim, did you have a question?
Is that also including Nemo's?
No, Nemo's you
We
can get
still
food
use-
from, yes,
Okay, that food is all right.
yes.
Okay.
Are there any questions from the audience? Yeah, you go ahead and go to the microphone if you would.
Good afternoon.
Hi, can you please state your name and give your rec card number,
Yes.
please? Thank you.
My name is Robin Anderson. I've been a Sun City West Snowbird resident since 2014. My rec card number is 122431. I am here today to request clarification on Johnson Lane's bowling policies. The Desert
Okay,
Flowers.
Robin, I'm sorry, I hate to stop you right there,
Sure.
but right now, we're just going to talk about this memo, this issue with the Lizard Acres thing.
Oh, I'm
And then
sorry.
if we could touch base on this.
Okay, I thought we made eye contact for me.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Okay. Just let me know when you need it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, we need to stay on this topic and then we can hit that. Thank you, hon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Debbie Cornell. My rec center number is 1222266. And I'm still confused about the food. Say it was somebody's birthday, my husband's birthday. I can't bring a cake that I made at home, but I could buy one and bring it in?
Yes,
That's where I'm confused. So it doesn't have to just be chips. It could be cake or cupcakes or cookies. It could be chicken that was made at the grocery store?
No, we can't
No.
do that, no.
Okay, so I don't know how to clarify it then.
Anything hot's not allowed to be brought in other than coming from the restaurant. Or, like I said, pizza is okay because they have a license to deliver.
But we can't buy pizza and bring it in?
We're, no,
No, it has to be delivered.
right.
Okay, okay.
And the cake we allow, we actually allow a cake now and then, for a birthday. We don't want to be, grumps about it.
Right.
But,
Okay.
we just have to be careful.
And
that
that
people
rule,
don't take advantage of it.
okay, I'm involved in the Tuesday trivia. So we've been bringing a lot of food and we're letting them know that they can't. So you don't want them to bring any desserts or anything to that.
No, you're well known for your food.
Yeah, I know. We have some great cooks. We have a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun.
I know, and I hate to put a nail in that because you do have a lot of fun and we do appreciate your business.
Okay.
No.
Do you want us to continue Tucson trivia? Because it seems like you're putting up flags all the time.
That's why I said, no, we love you.
Okay.
We'd like to do more, because you guys, you're all about fun. And that's what
Okay.
we're there for.
Yeah, it's usually packed on Tuesday nights.
It is,
Yeah. And we do
for
have
Tuesday's
fun.
usually dead
Okay.
in the bar, but you guys are doing a great job. I can't
Okay.
tell you how much we appreciate
All
it.
right. Well, thank you. That means a lot. But we'll have to work on the food thing. Can we get something in writing? So
I'll
we
put
can
it in
give it
writing.
to people?
Yes,
I know we can't have popcorn and we can't have peanuts. That's fine.
not unless you want to clean it up.
Well, we do pretty much clean up after ourselves, but we're not washing the floor.
So Debbie, it sounds like you guys have to have pizza now on Tuesday nights.
Okay, pizza delivered, huh? Okay.
Shelley, you have to go to the podium.
Are you going to double team me or what?
No, Barry, we love you. You know that.
And this is not tag team.
120182 to Shelley Giles.
Thank you.
Well, okay. If we don't want to have pizza delivered, is the dollar cheaper if we go pick it up? I mean, that's a big savings if bring in a lot of pizzas. I don't see the difference because you're going to run from the pizza place
Yeah,
to
but we have
Lizard
to,
Acres while it's hot
we have to be
anyway.
assured it's coming from a licensed pizza shop.
Domino's.
Oh, yeah, they'd be licensed.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I'm hearing from Barry that that would be okay?
That would be okay.
Domino's? Okay.
Will we have a sheet on the door for everybody so everybody knows the rules and plays the same rules?
Yes. And as long as you bring extra for the staff, you'll never
We
have a
always
problem.
do. The bowling guys are mad. It's cut back.
Janet?
I'm going to guess that these food restrictions are because of food inspection rules. Is that correct? In that Lizard Acres isn't on a routine food inspection like Mimo's or
No, they
other
aren't.
licensed restaurants are. And so we would have to be quite careful about
Yes.
what's brought in, especially with hot food and food to
Right.
temperature and all
We're
of
not
those
allowed
kind
to
of things.
produce food in the bar,
Okay, so,
period.
that's something to keep in mind. It does kind of put a crimp for people bringing their own food in, but it is a delicate line to walk to be within state regulations and overall food safety.
Right.
Barry, so you're saying pizza as long as it's in a box that says Domino's or Pizza?
As long as it's coming from a professional company that's licensed to produce food.
Great, thank you. So with that, we're going to move on to 4.04, which is review of the Sports Pavilion Committee 50K plus capital submissions. And that'll be Carl Wilhelm. And Carl has a new title as well, which is not just capital projects manager anymore. He is also facility operations. Did I get that right, Carl?
You did get that right. Share that document with you by all means. Thank you very much. I'm not sure my glasses.
Okay, so, sorry I'm a little ill-prepared. I've not done this at the Sports Pavilion Committee meeting, so
I know it, and I thank you, Carl,
You're
for,
welcome.
for coming and visiting with us today.
So at this time of the year, we are in the second phase of the budget, CIP budget reviews, where we review capital projects over $50,000. The general manager has received the CIP list in its entirety, and all committees have an opportunity to review anything over $50,000, and then the next phase would be anything over $100,000 as we kind of progress through the budget. And this is also the season that Cliff alluded to, where the operating budget and the CIP budget are starting to get worked together and come out with the annual budget later on in the season. So these facts are important about kind of narrowing our approval areas so that we can move down the road. The capital improvement projects over $50,000 for the Sports Pavilion are two items. You have the bowling ball return replacement for $108,000, and then you have the bowling alley lane replacement for $278,000 approximately. So the only other item that is on this budget that had some previous discussion with other committees is the cabinets and countertop replacement for $25,000 at Mimo's. And I believe that's probably going to spark a question here in a moment. So that's it for the capital budget for the Sports Pavilion. So do you have any questions?
Super, thank you, Carl. Does anybody have any questions? Joe?
How comfortable are you with the numbers vis-a-vis inflation?
For the two larger items,
Yes.
I'm going to defer to Barry. Barry's in constant contact with Brunswick on these projects. So these are the numbers that I was presented to put into the budget. And if there's any updates to this, I would rely on Barry to share that information.
What was the question?
Sorry, the actual numbers in the document versus what we would possibly expect because of inflation to actually cost.
As long as we sign a contract, I think it's March 1st, those are the actual prices. We did recently get another bid, and it's $15,000 less, but the product isn't nearly as good.
For the
So-
ball return or for the lanes?
Both,
Oh, for both.
both. We went to AMF and got a couple bids just yesterday.
So
So-
I'm going to follow up on that a little bit. Barry and I'll discuss that. We'll review those contracts. It is implemented in the budget, but the budget does not get approved until June officially. So end of May, June signing authority for the general manager. So we will review to see if there is any inflation. It's a very good question. And if so, we will make sure that the Sports Pavilion Committee and other committees are aware of any changes. But Barry and I'll have to have some form of agreement with Brunswick and their contracts that it either gets extended beyond July 1st when we have actual signing authority, or language will have to change. So
Barry, I have a question regarding the ball return replacement. Is that 30 lanes as well?
Yes,
Okay, just doesn't.
actually it's 15 ball returns because one
Oh, that's
ball
right,
return
one,
services
right,
2 lanes.
services both lanes, because it just doesn't say here. So I just want to make clarification. Perfect. So if there's no other questions regarding these two line items, Carl was correct, we are going to roll into discussion on, but regarding the $25,000 line item that has been a topic of discussion regarding the cabinets and the countertops for memos. And everyone should be aware that the memos contract goes through August of 2024, if I'm not mistaken. So the question was raised that should this line item be left in the budget? Should we be looking at that? And there's been many discussions on it, and Cliff brought it to my attention before this meeting that perhaps we should put together a subcommittee to address this and maybe dig into this deeper. Carl?
I'm not going to defer your thoughts of a subcommittee, but the cabinets aren't going to fall off the wall in 1 year. So it has been, since our previous committee meetings and the governing board discussion, staff is, going to meet with the owner of Memos. The member of Memos might have been caught a little off guard just because in these last few meetings we discussed that their contract is coming due. So that set a bit of a fear in them that, oh, we're going to make some quick decisions here. No, we're going to sit down with them and discuss master planning ideas and carry that forward and see how Memos can work with the visions that we might be throwing around for the future. So I would say that as far as the cabinet situation goes, if it's not an unwise decision if you want to hold off for a year and just make that part of the discussions on how is Memos going to be relevant to our future in either re-signing a contract or not, and then we can determine if there's any remodeling that needs to be done. Barry brought it up because Memos is a busy restaurant and the cabinets are in poor condition, and so it was a legitimate line item to be reviewed, but good questions have come from that.
Super, thank you. So that was, Carl was bringing forth one of the questions that I had asked as well was, can the cabinets wait a year? Because I certainly don't want Memos to be working in any conditions that are not, that are uncomfortable for them. We never want that.
So the only follow-up I would suggest is that if you made a recommendation that you're going to carry to the governing board, that I would remove that from the budget for 1 year.
Okay. So I think, Cliff, in our conversation earlier, in lieu of just flat removing it, there was a conversation that we put together this subcommittee that would, bear with me, I am trying to read Karen's notes that she took for me, and I apologize, because it would be a Lizard Acres bar. Karen, help me out, would you please? And Memos as well.
Read my lovely handwriting.
I'm sorry.
No worries. So it's a bar expansion, right? The deliverable is actually a restaurant and bar concept subcommittee if they go in that direction. So that would be the name of the subcommittee. This can all be discussed, obviously. There, the two deliverables at this point are the bar expansion and the 25K cabinet, what I call resurfacing. So those are the two deliverables at this point. They can be expanded or reduced. Okay.
So I think that would be the two items that the subcommittee can address. Is that?
Yeah, so the idea is that, we've got some planning that we're doing operationally when it comes to master planning. And one of the concepts that came out of master planning was that the community would like to have another option for dining slash, entertaining, so to speak, or bar.
Bar and grill.
Exactly. So that kind of at the high level is there, and we're discussing that. And of course, we're looking down the road for when the agreements are coming due and starting to, just kind of plan and look at that. And I know that there's been discussion here at the committee level with what do we do with Lizard Acres? Does it stay what it is, or do we make something better or bigger or whatever? So my idea is that, that a subcommittee be put together to discuss that and come up with some concepts. At the same time, we can, when that gets presented, we could take those ideas back and hopefully be able to include that in our master planning if it's something that the committee, the community, and the board want to invest in.
Perfect. I like that. So Carl is.
I'm in.
Great. So I would, are you willing to be on the committee?
I am.
Great. Thank you, Carl. And Barry, do you have the time to be on the committee with everything you have going on? Thank you. So with that in mind, I am looking for at least 2 people from Joe, thank you. And I could use another.
I'm easy.
Oh, Jim, thank you. Thank you.
No, I'm real easy.
Thank you. I think that, and I still, Karen, do you think I need anybody from the finance end of it at this time, or no? I'm thinking, I would, or, yeah. Okay. I think we'll just start with this, and if they have questions for Cliff, they can shoot them over to Cliff, and he can address them if that works for you. Great, okay, thank you. So we will roll with that, with Carl and Barry and Joe and Jim. If that works. Thank you. So that takes care of that, and we will roll into committee comments. Oh, sure.
Can we get a sense of timing for this subcommittee? It doesn't have, we're just perhaps a preliminary report. Is that the end of the year? Is it in a month? You know, we just
Months.
need a sense for the timing of their product. It doesn't have to be the final one. It can be an interim, but we just want to start getting a sense for timing.
So with,
Months.
out of respect for Barry's and my busy schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays would be one of those days. How about Barry and I discuss it together and find out what our available schedule is, and then ask you gentlemen if that meets your schedule, you know, in case you're golfers or pickleballers. And I think we can get this nailed down by early next week. Is that?
So let me,
Does that work?
so I can schedule rooms. And so we're saying that your first, at least preliminary sort of discussions update might be the February meeting?
Here, February meeting? I
Okay.
would seem that,
Do you
think that's
think-
reasonable, yep.
Yeah, because we meet February 15th, so do you think you would have a,
Yeah, we might have it all laid out.
oh, thank you, Carl, that's what I wanted to hear. Look at Cliff is over there going, oh dear Lord. So, okay, I'm gonna leave it up to you capable gentlemen.
So if I could just ask for, after the meeting, sharing of information? Thank you.
Great, thank you. Karen, does that work? We're good. Great, thank you. Okay, so now we will go into committee comments. Anybody? Nope. Okay, with that, I'm going to ask for audience comments.
Good afternoon. My name is Robin Anderson, and my rec card number is 122431. I'm here today to request some clarifications about the Johnson Lanes bowling policies. I'm just going to run down a little bit of what happened. We had an event a couple years ago. The Desert Flowers team, which I am a member of, has supported Johnson Lanes for 20 years. They are bowling on a no-tap league Wednesdays at 11 a.m., January through April. The Desert Flowers have followed Johnson Lane's intent to bowl sign-up process for 20 years. On January 4th, 2022, the team showed up at Johnson Lanes for the first bowling date of the winter season. Even though they followed the same process as always, yes, that's 20 years, that day they were told there was no spot for them. Understandably upset, I checked with manager Barry Hardesty. He said, quote, "You have to bowl in the fall in order to bowl in the winter. You are snowbirds and you have made the choice not to bowl in the fall," unquote. So now the questions arise. Was there an official policy change regarding resident/non-resident eligibility to bowl? No. If non-residents were able to bowl in the fall league, are they then given preference over residents for the winter league? The answer is yes, based on Mr. Hardesty's explanation. A meeting with the general manager and review of the current bowling policies has not generated any response. All Sun City West residents, and yes, even snowbirds, have the right to expect management to follow policy, be respectful and transparent, respond in a timely manner regarding concerns, and finally, to actually address inequities. Thank you for your time. My name again is Robin Anderson on behalf of the Desert Flowers Bowling League.
Thank you, Robin. Barry?
Okay, Robin, as you are aware of, we were in constant communication with you on the phone, explaining to you what the process was. Yes, I talked to you how many times? No, I don't think so. You were a snowbird. You chose not to bowl in the fall for whatever reason. It's not fair for me to sit there and hold that spot open of 4 people up through September through December for nothing. There's no charge when we could fill it with people who want to bowl all year long. The league has changed in the last couple of years. We've hired a person to grow our leagues, which she's done a fantastic job. So she filled the league in the early fall, September, when it started. There was nobody that resigned from the league through December. So therefore, there's no openings in that league. We offered you to bowl another morning at the same time. You didn't want to do that. We offered you another day. You didn't want to do that. You bowled one time on a Thursday at 11 o'clock, and you said it was too loud, so you quit. It's not any different for that league than any other league we have. Preference states September. You were just lucky the league had never grown, and there was always a spot. And the only reason there was a spot is because we couldn't grow the league. But then we chose to go in opposite direction and fill the league with some advertising and things like that. And we were able to fill it with full-time people. So we still have a business to run. So sitting those lanes empty for 5 months, 4 months is just monetarily not the way you run a business. We tried to put you somewhere else. We couldn't do it. Your name's still first on the list. You know, if someone quits, you want your full team to bowl. So, and you talk, you know, I don't know, is your whole team residents of Sun City West? Yes. They are? Okay. So that's the explanation of why we did it. It wasn't against you at all.
Okay, we had a meeting with Bill Schwind. We went over the bowling league policies. Even he didn't think they were very good. There was the word eligibility used. Nobody knew what that meant. It's just not clear. We met with a lady named Marie who had been a scheduler for 20 years. She said the leagues are separate. There is a fall league and a winter league, and you sign up separately. It's been that way for 20 years. We told Tammy in the spring, yeah, we want to bowl in January. Okay, great, I got you on the list.
Right.
Okay. Bev Miller, now 84 years old, who is the oldest member of the team, checked quite a bit during the summer and in the fall. Oh yes, you're on the list, you're good. What more can we do?
Well, you can.
And why did the policy of signing up not work? How can you have 4 women show up to bowl after 20 years and say, nope, you're out? So, you know, now we're thinking, okay, well, there's non-residents that are bowling, most likely. That doesn't follow the policy that you have.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't,
Everything
because
changes.
it's separate.
Okay, Robin, Barry,
I don't want to get into
I'm gonna
an
I'm gonna
argument.
stop.
Lisa, this is the very reason I wanted a meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right here.
Okay, that's
and-
fine.
And I'm going to suggest that we have a meeting, we set up a meeting outside of this committee meeting and see if this can be resolved. And also, I think you're referring to policy B04.
I have it here, I'd have to look.
Okay, it says right at the top, I think, if you have a copy of it, it says right at B04. That
I
policy.
have a B1.
B04 refers to leagues, and that policy is due to be
And
reviewed.
I have a B02.
Okay, well, policy B04 refers to leagues, and it's due to be reviewed at our February meeting. So we can certainly look at and see if there's any changes that need to be made regarding that policy, if there's any verbiage that's incorrect. But at this point, I think we need to
Yeah, Bill
cut
Schwinn
this.
advised us that it would be changed and made more clear. We heard nothing after that from him at all.
Okay, so
Um,
we'll cut this off here, and then we'll address this in a meeting separately, okay? Great,
Yeah, I'd
thank
really
you.
appreciate for it to be cleared up so that we can understand how this could happen to four nice women. Thank you for your
Great,
time.
great, thank you. So, with that, if there are no additional comments, our next meeting is February 15th at 1:30 here in the lecture hall, and the meeting is adjourned.